guys, Ron here, and I've been wanting to make a video like this for years, so I'm very glad I'm in the position where I could do that. I brought together 3 other artists you may or may not know who are known for their Pokemon related art, and gave them a 3-word prompt, and we all had to create a new 2-stage family of Pokemon that embodies the description I gave them, which was Pretty, Protector, Protagonist. Now we're finally going to reveal our Fakemon to you guys and each other. Let me introduce these amazing artists. We have Tom from the channel Moxie2D, who is known for his art-based Nuzlocke, Vergolophus, who posts fantastic art on her Twitter account, and Jack from Subjectively, a channel that makes tons of Fakemon and other top-tier illustrations. Check the description for their channels and Twitter. I told these dudes to pretend like they were given a description from Ken Sugimori himself to make a pretty and protective Pokemon that could also act as a protagonist. Let's see the results. But before that, consider leaving a like if you enjoy so I know to make part 2 with a new group of artists. Moxie, show us your first Pokemon, please.
So, the prompts were Pretty, Protagonist, and Protection, right? And so for whatever reason, also, big swords have been in my head. First protagonist with a sword that came to my mind was Link from Legend of Zelda.
Okay.
Of course. And so this works as well. Like, I'm talking big swords, like great swords, right? I like my Dark Souls, so this starts looking a little different now.
Big guns.
But you might be surprised this doesn't go exactly where you think it goes. And so for me, when I'm designing Pokemon, I also think animal. It's like thing and animal usually, or thing and thing.
Yeah.
So I went with a ragdoll cat. Here's my ragdoll cat.
I got a cat right here, right now on my lap.
Oh, jealous.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay.
So I got Link,
Here.
I got a small cat, and I got big swords. So yeah, I started with a cat. The prompt said pretty, but we're gonna work our way there with this design. So I've gone with some pretty typical big head, small body proportions with some massive Generation 1 eyes. I wasn't sure what to do with the arms. I knew I wanted this Pokemon to have a sword feature, but I wasn't sure if it would be part of its paws somehow. I don't really like when Pokemon actually use an outside source as part of its design. I don't want it to be holding something that would be found in the outside world, especially something so like man-made as a sword. So I decided this Pokemon would wield the aura, the power Lucario wields as an energy blade. From that point on, I knew this was basically going to be a Lucario counterpart. So I went all in on the pretty pink aesthetic, pulled some color inspiration from Wigglytuff, changed the energy to blue to maximize the contrast with the pink, and made some last minute changes. The mouth shape and location felt a bit too kawaii, you know what I mean? Like a bit too Pusheen and not so Pokemon. So I took some inspiration from Eevee, making the mouth a little bigger, lowering it. The tail also felt a little too fox-like. So I went really basic and gave it a very simple, thin but fluffy cat tail. There he or she is.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, that is adorable. I love that.
This is the highest compliment I can give, but it looks like a starter. Wow.
Oh my
Thank
gosh.
you. I also just watched Star Wars for the first time, so I like a bit of that as well.
For the first time.
Yeah, I know. So I thought this Pokemon channels their aura and uses their energy as like a little weapon. So this little cat channels their energy as a little, aura blade, basically. That's what they do.
Very cool.
I always said that I think Lucario, or specifically Riolu, I think is the most like protagonist-y Pokemon, so you picked a really good reference.
This is adorable. I love the balance that you strike between being cute, but also like having that kind of intimidating looking blade. Like it could be a lot crazier, but you went for just, it's so cute, but then it's also like, don't mess with me. I have a laser sword and I will cut you if I need to. I love that.
I really do love how it looks straight out of Gen 1 or Gen 2. The style that you chose for like the ears and, little paws is so cute. I love it.
It's adorable.
Yeah, I can't help it because I'm a bit of a Gen 1. I'll admit, I played Red. So I always find myself going back to Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and Charmander as like the raw, like what a Pokemon is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So in a lot of my designs, this just happens.
I didn't even think that this will be like an outcome where each of ours will have like maybe will fit in like different generations even. That's
depending on the style that we render them.
Exactly.
Because those eyes are like, bam, those are really like Charmander eyes right there. Those are, and they're adorable. I love them.
All right, let's evolve Nico. The plan for everyone was to make a 2-stage Pokemon, which means a base form and an evolution. But I'm an idiot and I read 2-stage Pokemon as a Pokemon with 2 evolutions. So this is the middle stage of my Pokemon design. I get to have 3. I decided this Pokemon would continue to stand upright, and I wanted to really drive home the fact that this Pokemon is in a transition phase. Their expression changes to determined and more serious but still not 100% certain of themselves, and that sword grows drastically, becoming almost too big. Really focusing on the protagonist part of the prompt, I wanted this Pokemon to give off the vibe of an anime protagonist, one which has too much power that they don't really know how to control yet. The rest of this design is basically what you'd expect. Their body and ears get a bit bigger and more detailed, but I also started to add some fluffy fur to very slightly hint at the silhouette of armor. Right at the end, I decided that some of this overwhelming energy should come through in her design as well. So the tail starts to sprout some blue energy, and a very small unicorn horn starts to show. Let's have a look.
Here it comes.
Anticipation.
Here is Niku.
Oh my god!
God. Oh, that sword is so nice. I love that.
I love the colors and she's so pretty, god damn.
Oh my gosh. I love this.
I really love the, I mean, this is so important with evolutions because, you know, a lot of people think that an evolution is just adding on visually to the first form, but a big part of it is a change in personality, and we go from like this kind of cute, naive little look to right away, like now we're more determined, we're focused, I'm holding it with both hands, my brow is furrowed, and I'm like, I'm ready to go. And
I think personality is such a massive part of Pokemon, so yeah, I so agree. I'm glad you see it.
Yeah.
I called Nico the energy Pokemon, right? So this is the potential Pokemon. Now she's evolved, and her energy levels are almost sort of too much for her to handle. So she has this massive sword that she can't really even properly wield. So actually her speed decreases in terms of stats because she can't use it as well as she wants to. You know, she's fighting for her friends, right? And despite the fact that she can not fully control this sword, she refuses to back down from any fights, especially if friends are involved.
I hope that that's all of our Pokemon that we made today.
Yeah, true.
That's what I was hinting at, basically.
And so I made up friend Aura, which basically, if there are other Pokemon in the party, any other Pokemon in the party, she or he gets an attack boost to 20%.
Oh, that's perfect.
That is strong.
Yeah, no, it's good, huh?
That is very strong.
I never consider like the ramifications in competitive either, so that's fine.
I know. I always comments on my videos like this Pokemon's busted. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not a game developer. I'm just an artist. I don't
It's
know.
like designing things.
Well, funnily enough, because I do a lot of Nuzlocke, I'm seeing it from like Nuzlocke side, and in the next one, there's some weirdness that comes into play with Nuzlocks. We'll get there, I guess.
Final form.
Final form time. The first thing I wanted to communicate was the absolute power and confidence of the iconic Great Sword over the shoulder pose. This Pokemon is supposed to represent the transformed protagonist. They've been through it all, they've mastered their power, and you know they're about to end a villain's career in like 3 seconds flat in order to protect their new friends. I wanted the sword to be absolutely massive, to stand out as part of the Pokemon's design as they wield it with confidence. It needed to be sharp and pointy to contrast the general puffy softness of her shape design. I also really wanted to push the shapes of the fur so they still look soft and fluffy, but also give off the vibe of an armored knight. Maybe one you'd see from like the end game of a fantasy MMO or something. She's supposed to look like she's wearing a big chest piece, you know? She has these big puffy shoulder blades and these massive like hip protrusions, similar to like Ornstein from Dark Souls. She has more aura shooting from her tail, and a fully grown unicorn horn now too. Alright, I kind of went to town on this one.
Damn, well, you already went to town.
We are in town.
This is Nico Kira.
Wow. Oof, very steel. Oh, I love it.
That's my favorite typing, I think.
That's a great. There's so much design potential with those two types because fundamentally they seem so different, but if you combine them together, there are so many different possibilities to go with those two conventions, and I love the way you took this. Very cool.
Everything reads easy because like the sword and the body have like completely different colors, I think, but harmonize very well.
I've gone all in on the protagonist thing, right? Her ability is the power of friendship.
Okay, I love that.
I'm glad you did it.
I would love to see a Pokemon ability that gives you a third type, basically. And I almost went that route, but I decided that the power of friendship would give you a 1.5 times boost to fighting type moves, which is basically kind of like being a fighting type as well, right?
Yeah.
Which means they could also use like Secret Sword. I think that's Keldio's move and stuff like that.
Yep.
Which would be awesome. And also, you get a 1-stage boost to attack if there are Pokemon alive in the party. So if you've got comments, she's probably busted, okay?
It's like 3 different abilities.
It's pretty crazy. I love the plot armor in this ability right now.
You guys can tell I've been watching too much Dragon Ball Z.
Exactly.
If all party Pokemon are fainted, this ability becomes the power of Lost. And instead, she gets a 2-stage attack boost if she's the last one in the party. And I made up a move, Moonlight Greatsword, which again is a reference to Dark Souls. It's a 100 base power move, 100 accuracy, and increases attack by 1 stage if the move fades a Pokemon. Yeah, it's busted. The idea is that so you get to her to level 32 or more, and you have to win a battle where all 5 of your other party members have fainted.
Oh.
He or she will evolve.
I like that.
I always love that stuff like that. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
If you use it in a Nuzlocke specifically, that is...
Wait, so you have to do terribly in the Nuzlocke in order for this Pokemon to evolve?
Basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword.
I guess.
Or sacrifice.
That's
Yeah.
so cool, though, that your perspective as someone who plays Nuzlocks, would come through in your design because, and it makes perfect sense.
This is exactly what I forgot would be the fun of this challenge, basically, that we're all going to our Pokemon are going to represent ourselves, basically.
Yeah.
I often I'll critique a Pokemon because for whatever reason I feel like it doesn't look like a Pokemon.
Okay.
And for whatever reason I'm not sure this really looks like a Pokemon, but it is what just came to mind anyway, so I had to make it happen.
My first thought when I see it is like maybe the figure is too human, but then I think about like Lucario or Cinderace or Lopunny, and it's like, no, those Pokemon all have pretty human bodies. So I don't think that's you as the artist are sitting there drawing it and it's like, this isn't a real Pokemon, so you probably have a different perspective in your mind where it's like, something about this doesn't feel quite right, but I like it. I think it's convincing. I could totally see this as a Pokemon for sure.
That's such a good point.
Nikuni actually is probably, I feel like, the most realistic as a Pokemon. I think in order to fix whatever problem you have with like it being too humanoid, is more just taking one aspect, whether it be like the legs or the arms, and making that like just one of them more animalistic, or even like Lucario has like the more like bent dog-like legs. You know what I'm saying?
True. Yeah, you're right.
Now I hope they're not all sword cats.
Just like what Moxie did, I looked at how many Pokemon are more of the shonen protagonists. So Lucario, Greninja, Zeraora. You can totally see that the characters who are in the anime, they use Cinderace, they use Zeraora. They don't use Pokemon like Gardevoir or Sylveon to like defeat evildoers. It's mostly like, for performances and contests, which it's still fine. It's still fine. Don't get me wrong, viewers. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, so what is the opposite of what the anime does? Well, maybe Sailor Moon. I never really watched Sailor Moon when I was growing up, but I always knew that there was a lot of these characters who were really pretty, but they were also, they defended the earth. They were guardians. They had really like adorable outfits, but they just kicked ass. And I mean, I watched Powerpuff Girls, so that's kind of related. How do I combine this all together with something that I personally like? Oh, right, dragons. I also really like space. Basically, a magical girl who is a space dragon.
Oh, I love that already.
First things first, I wanted a baby Pokemon. I wanted her to be cute, but not too cute. She needed to be more like Riolu and Elekid, where she might look cute, but she is more on the independent side. I mean, she's already shedding her skin. And with that comes this kind of adorable appearance of having a poncho or a hoodie and a little star at the tip of its tail, which I will go back and maybe tweak it a little bit so it looks more like shed skin and not just attached to her tail. When I was choosing colors, it was still too monotonous, at least the design. So to break up the design a little bit more, I tried to give it some hair or something reminiscent of what the evolution would have as a mane. But this is just the first pass of the Pokemon.
Introducing Pometita.
Oh my god.
It's so cute.
I knew this was going to happen. I love yours so much more than I love mine. I knew there was going to be.
Yeah.
I knew there was going to be one that I was like, oh, I like this better than mine. Oh, this is already so cute. I love it.
Thank you.
First of all, I just want to say your line art is amazing.
Oh,
It
thank
looks
you.
it looks so real.
Yeah, I'm used to like the liner of like your normal artwork. I've never seen like is this like different or is this the same?
It's the same brush.
Really? This is way more official looking.
When I don't draw humans, I do better.
Okay. 95% of the time you draw humans though.
Yeah, but it's because I'm the only one producing content for my ship.
That's true. That's true.
You have a responsibility.
That's hilarious. I find Pokemon sometimes struggles with like incorporating outfits that are obviously meant to be, it's sort of a reference to clothing, but it's still supposed to be built into the character. And this is, to me, it's like totally believable. It's just part of the Pokemon.
Thank you. It is actually part of the Pokemon in more ways than one. This is shedding skin, so it's just like crafty. She's just going along with things. She's getting stronger. She's, her new scales are much hardier underneath. They absorb the power of starlight, whatever that means. They say that Comatita loves to bask under starlight just so it can absorb whatever mysterious space power as it grows and, continuously sheds her skin.
Oh. I'm so excited to see what the second form looks like because there's something so promising about this first form. And like, even if this was it, I would be so happy with it because I'm like, this is fantastic. I want it to be next to me in my bed right now and like, just like pat its head and like have it curl up next to me and light my room with its reflective scales. I'm
getting like very mythical vibes from this, so it's like,
I was about to say the same thing.
It's very like exciting to get an evolution from something that looks like a mythical, so that's what I'm very excited for. I've never seen anything like that.
Oh, thank you so much.
So coming off from the first evolution, I am pumped and ready to go and ready to begin with the second evolution. The body type is very reminiscent of Lucario, the big hips and the sort of anthropomorphic human-like form, but it's more shoujo and not shonen hero. She has gloves, she has a headdress, she has these little cute boots, and long flowing mane reminiscent of long hair. Her scales and her entire body is imbued and protected by the power of starlight. Finalize the design before I get to the second pose, which is the official art, quote-unquote, of the Pokemon. I wanted to give it a slight scale motif, but I ultimately just opted for a little line here and there to make it show that she has some scales. It would look rather smooth with the touch. And from there on, it was just easy. It was just the coloring process, and when it got to the shading, that's where it popped, that's where the Pokemon felt like a Pokemon, and I even went back and edited the first Pokemon. So now they both feel concrete, they both feel finished, and, connected to one another. And I felt pretty happy with the results of both.
Oh, this is a Virgo design.
Wow. Oh my god, I love this. Oh my god, I know so many people who would absolutely flip over this Pokemon, including myself.
She's finally grown up. She knows what she's doing, like a full-on protector of guardian of the earth, but she's also being protected by all this cosmic power. Her scales they're no longer shedding, but they have hardened, like armored coating. She uses the power of starlight, so revolves at highest happiness at nighttime, so the opposite, Lucario again.
Cool.
With Marvel's scale, it's like, her scales are just so pumped up with that power that, she gets more defensive. But the hidden ability of Magic Bounce is when she's truly, truly at her peak, where she can just reflect those status fulfillments right back onto her evildoers, basically.
That's like the whole silhouette just feels so, unique and powerful. Yeah. But also elegant.
Yeah. What I like about how slender the figure is that it implies a lot of movement. You can really see this thing, swirling back and forth, in the air. Those big arms give you this sense that, like, it not only can pack a punch, but it can block a punch, Yeah. And I think that's what I'm missing in Inteleon, was like, I think what a lot of people complain about it looking so skinny and awkward is like, it's just skinny and there's nothing else there. This is like skinny and slender to imply that, that grace and that movement, but then it's also got that strength to it.
This definitely makes sense on Annabelle's team, not gonna lie.
Oh no, don't bring that up here. But I'm glad that you said that she looks like she could be animated, because when I was thinking about how Pokemon work nowadays, I think about, they have to work in a 3D environment.
Exactly.
I pictured this Pokemon in my head. How would it move around in Pokemon and Me? Would she float? Would she make like little moon hops towards you because she's space?
Yeah, that's really cute.
I can see it all now. You just fully visualize that for me.
All right, so it's funny because we've sort of already kind of expressed that we went through very similar thought processes. And I was actually honestly at a loss for a really long time. It took me about a week to think of like, I don't know, just to get something like cooking in my head. And I went to a museum. I went to the Museum of Metropolitan Art. And I was thinking about it while I was there. I was like, I'm definitely going to see something pretty here. That's going to get my juices flowing. And, I took some pictures and none of them really stood out to me all that much until I saw this. And it was this Japanese wood carving. I have some other pictures, but this is the one that I used specifically for my reference. And the carving itself was of this wind god. And that guy himself was not very pretty. But the way the wood was carved and that red pink into the green was like, I was like, that's pretty. And I thought about what else kind of plays into that theme of like natural beauty and, like what's pretty in nature. So I immediately started thinking about, and then I was like, okay, protector of the forest, maybe something where we have like a forest guardian. And I love bears. And I've always felt like there isn't really a bear Pokemon that I really love.
Really?
I found some like wood carvings of bears from like Western United States indigenous cultures. I wanted to bring that in a little bit too. And I was thinking about colors too, like what kind of things can I bring in for colors? I found this picture, which is not pretty at all, but it gave me some ideas for colors. This was from the...
Oh, Brave?
Yeah, Brave, but it was like the Mordew short, like the backstory for Mordew. It was like the main antagonist from that.
With this evolutionary line, I actually designed the second stage first. I've never designed a Pokemon this way, but it was an interesting deviation from my usual process. The first form, Detenia, would help exemplify the protagonist part of the prompt. I think the most crucial distinction between a main character and the rest of a cast is growth. Starting off small, scrappy, and ambitious, the first form of my two-stage Pokemon is a young cub with a lot of energy and a ton of heart, but not a lot of discipline. Bears make for great symbolic imagery and storytelling, and bear cubs are often associated with mischief and curiosity. Detenia is the guardian of the forest, but it hasn't quite grown into its own yet. Its pose and facial expression imply courage and determination, but they're in direct contrast with its pink fur and overall infantile proportions. These design choices would help exaggerate the change between it and its evolution, where the prompt pretty plays a bigger role, and protagonist is exemplified in the growth of its personality.
So this is Detenia.
Oh!
And basically the gist of Detenia is it's sort of this young guardian of the forest that has been sort of thrown into the role of responsibility, where it's not quite ready to take on, adult responsibilities, but it really wants to. And it's kind of like scrappy and it's looking for a fight, and it maybe takes on enemies too big for it, and it gets beat up because of that, but it's like always determined, always ready, always looking to start a fight because it doesn't really know what it means to be a protector yet.
There's that personality. Love it.
I love that it has a cute little grumpy face. Oh.
Yeah.
The little bits of green and yellow almost make me want to eat it. I know that sounds weird, but like it's almost sort of kind of fruity in a way. It's super unique and I like it.
I'm always a fan of green and pink, and those specific like almost like pastel colors. That's I love in a Pokemon design.
I noticed that every single existing bear Pokemon is bipedal, but at least for the first form, I wanted it to be quadrupedal just so it could separate itself from the other bear Pokemon that already exist.
Because protagonists in a lot of media they don't get to be quadrupeds a lot. It's just,
oh yeah,
kind of annoying.
So true. It's so true.
Yeah.
It definitely highlights this like starter proportions, like with the big head and like this relatively smaller bodies. But still, I love how it's like arms are huge like a bear's. It's definitely the most like traditional Pokemon-y out of all of ours. I like it a lot.
Like I said before, Wardursa was actually the first of these two Pokemon that I designed. I was particularly intrigued by an old Japanese wood carving I saw in the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and I wanted to incorporate that imagery in some way. It was pretty in a very unconventional sense. Not lacy, frilly, delicate, or pink, but serene and transcendent. Something that I felt might exemplify the pretty prompt in a unique and unexpected way. So I used the shapes in that carving to create sculpted armor pieces for my Pokemon. I wanted the whole look to be feminine, but again, not in a conventional way. The main goal was for it to look related to Detenia, but evolved, not just physically, but in its personality as well. Detenia is wild, full of energy, and reckless. Wardursa, while still being proud and determined, has found inner peace. a little mini character arc in just 2 character designs for our protagonist. Tranquil grace and nature imagery to make it pretty, and a powerful stance, imposing presence, and stoic personality of a protector.
Here we have...
Oh my god, that is
Wardursa.
beautiful,
Whoa.
actually. Wow.
Yeah, so I was really thinking, like, less along the lines of, like, pretty, like, ooh, like, you know, dainty and delicate and lacy, like, pretty, like, wow. Like you look at it, like you're looking at a landscape. It's like, wow, that's gorgeous. You know, that protagonist feeling doesn't have to be inherently masculine. And if you want it to be feminine, it doesn't have to be traditionally feminine either. So I was thinking, like, you know, we can go different routes with this. And again, like, I wanted this to be the bear Pokemon that I don't have yet. Like, I want this to be that bear Pokemon that I really love. And then the face I thought was a big part of it too, you know, to feel related, but in contrast to the first form, where it's sort of like focused, calm, but still like has that determined spirit to protect its home.
No problem.
And the reason that I chose Protean was because I was imagining that, like its first form, it draws energy from the forest around it, and there's so many different elements that make up a forest that it could channel whatever move it's using. Like if it's using, you know, surface, I can imagine it learns like a ton of different moves that are connected to the forest. You learn bug type moves, water type moves, grass, rock, ground, and you know, it then becomes, you know, one with that power.
The difference between the details sort of the face, right? But then when you look at the actual silhouette you've given, it looks so terrifying. It's almost like if you were in this forest or something, and it's the guardian of the forest, right? In the distance, you might see this thing and think, oh my god, it's a big scary like Electivire thing. Or when it reveals itself, it's actually this like, you know, beautiful Pokemon of the nature.
And even when you look closely, like, at the actual details, and this is what you guys are all nailing with, which is, like, the contrast, I feel like you have this elegant, like, design on his chest, but then you have these, like, very, like, jagged claws that those are clearly for, you know, attacking, so it's like, it's not all just beauty.
But yeah, I just wanted to have that balance between something that looked like it could beat you up, but doesn't necessarily want to beat you up.
Yeah, that's the vibe. That's
Exactly.
It, yeah.
I really, really love that you went with when it came to pretty, you went with something that is more the majesty of nature. It knows that it has a role to play. It wants to protect the world that it lives in. And it's real. I think you did a really fantastic job. I'm kudos to you.
Thank you very much.
So I gave you guys the prompt pretty protector protagonist because I thought Pokemon didn't have enough bulky or at least defensive Pokemon with like feminine charm. So I basically made a Pokemon that embodied what I wanted. So like I wanted a Pokemon that could be like a mascot or important Pokemon in the anime, just like all of what you guys made. So what's an animal that embodies protection, right? Armadillo.
I love it.
But what's the prettiest armadillo?
Oh, the pink fairy armadillo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What?
I've
never seen anything like this.
Yes.
Yeah, why don't we have a pink fairy armadillo Pokemon? I combined that with these rock formations in Argentina where the pink fairy armadillo is found. Here they are.
Oh my god.
That's real? Incredible.
That is actually insane. It looks like a painting, but it's gotta be real. Oh, the world is crazy.
Yeah. Isn't that awesome?
But I combined that also with like knights, which you know I thought most of us were gonna do. But I specifically inspired it by conquistadors, at least in the weaponry or like some design aspects that you'll see. I mean,
You know what armadillo means in Spanish, right?
like little armored one.
Yeah, there we go.
So yeah,
Little armored one.
so it's like
I'm learning so much today.
yeah, that's Pokemon is the #1 way to learn things. So I'm starting out by making the silhouette of a mace, a spike ball with the tail as a stick. The question is how round to make it. Do I make the face part of the body or more separate? This will be a struggle. I'm putting it in a jumping and energetic pose too, but the question is how to make it look expressive in the face area. Do I make its eyes tiny and cute or big and enthusiastic? It wasn't until I decided to make it look to the side that everything came together. Now I can show its mouth and long snout at the same time, and have more room for an eye. Pink fairy armadillos are pretty fluffy, so I'm making its fur look soft to contrast with its rocky shell. The oval pattern on its cheek will turn into a more prominent eyelashes when it evolves. I'm adding a more intricate tail made of rock and finalizing the design. While it's based on a pink fairy armadillo, it rolls like other armadillos. Its evolved form will have a flatter shell. I want to make it pink and cream while also making sure the shell looks like a rock, so I'll tone down the pinkness a bit. I also want the evolved form to be more saturated, so it embodies prettiness while still being cool looking.
Oh, that is so cute.
I love it.
Oh my god, that is
Face, the little eyes.
fantastic.
Oh my god.
So this is set a mini, right? So like I imagine it to be like very playful and rambunctious. I feel like that's all of ours, right? Like it's also like heroic and like driven to protect its friends, yeah, all that. And it's basically the protagonist of its own story. That's like the number one thing I want. It likes being like the center of attention, which often gets it into like trouble, but it always finds a way to solve its problems, usually with brute force, like not with like cosmic energy or anything. It's just it just curls up into a ball and like breaks things basically. Basically, it's in like the shape of like a mace, you know, like those like medieval like spike balls on a stick.
I love this. What I love about Pokemon is that you don't really have to limit yourself to one specific source of inspiration. Like you grab a couple things and you say, let's roll with these. And so like you can see the pink fairy armadillo, especially in the nose, the way that the armor folds over the face like that is so cute. And that to me reads as pink fairy armadillo. But then you have these parts of it that's like, yeah, maybe it's a little pangolin, maybe it's a little hedgehog, maybe it's a little, you you got all kinds of different things in there, but it all feeds into the same theme and it's completely coherent and it all fits together and it's adorable. And I totally saw exactly what you're talking about, like the morning star, like you could grab it by its tail and like back someone over the head with it. As long as it wants that.
It can join the league of Pokemon that are shaped like spheres, definitely.
Yeah.
I really love how unique it is. It really does feel like it could be real.
I don't know my gens very well, but for some reason, Gen 7 or Gen 6, I feel like if they handed that to me, I'd 100% believe it.
Yeah,
Gen 6 for sure, yeah.
Well, do you guys have like these unique animals that I've never heard of? And mine is cat.
It's cute. It's really
Warrior
cute though.
cat.
We love cats.
I've never heard of a ragdoll cat before, so
Yeah,
There you
that's
go,
actually
yeah.
pretty amazing.
Yeah, you used the word contrast before, Ron, and that's it right there. The fluffy inside, the spiky outside.
Yeah, there it is. You nailed it.
So now I'm making the fully evolved form. It's gonna be upright and confident looking, like a protagonist, but I do want it to end up somehow feminine looking, without relying too much on color. I want to make a Pokemon that is only a female, so I might as well give it some kind of indication in the design. All of this while making it look buff and bulky, something that could protect you but also be calm and serene. The armor of an armadillo obviously translates into knight armor, but what you don't know is that it will be holding a halberd. This is actually its rocky tail that it detaches and regrows. The flat shell on its back will also look like a cape. I was struggling with the face, but I think making it look more like its pre-evolved form's face is the right direction. It'll have a crest on the top to allude to conquistador helmets. I was having a little trouble with making the hips feminine but also bulky. In the end, these diamond-like protrusions helped, and now it looks less generic. I'm finalizing the halbert's design that it's carrying on its shoulder, and the colors are pretty much more saturated versions of its Prevo. But again, I'm taking inspiration from those pinkish Argentinian mountains. Here is Solidilla.
Oh, we stood up.
Oh wow!
I love it.
Oh
my god, the
gave her a
geometry.
Weird. I love it.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting a weapon in there, but that is great. I love that little touch in there.
What's funny is that, so like the weapon is actually its tail. It breaks it off and just regrows it.
Whoa! Oh, very cool.
So unlike its pre-evolved form, it's like quite calm and composed. It goes around like fighting battles for weaker Pokemon and doesn't take any unnecessary reward, unlike its pre-evolved form, which loves to be like the center of attention. And it can break apart like its rock tail, like I said, and it uses it as a halberd. And its signature move is Rocky Halberd, which does 100% damage, not 100%, 100 damage, and has a chance of flinching the opponent, but it can't use it twice in a row because it has to regenerate the rock.
Oh, cute.
Cool. That's cool.
I love imagining that too, because again, we were thinking about how Pokemon designed in this day and age have to consider like 3D animation and like, every like part of their adult animation adds to their character. That was something I really loved about Gen 8's design, is that there was something that you wouldn't be able to get just by looking at a 2D drawing of the Pokemon. You'd have to see them in battle in 3D.
Exactly.
And I'm totally imagining that, like, when it uses that move, it has a full animation for breaking off its tail and then, using it, and then it's gone for the next turn. And it's like just that part of its tail is just missing. And then it comes back on the next turn. I love that.
Oh, and by the way, these are all female, 100% female.
Oh, interesting. Oh, cool. You did such a great job, again, meeting in the middle between that, like, stereotypical masculine but like, you know, you have pink and you have fluff and you have all of these things where it's like, wait, does these things go together? But they do. They really do.
So it's cool that you started with showing us a background, because now I'm reminded of like the backgrounds of Steven Universe in this character.
Yeah.
And that's like
For
some of the most
sure.
beautiful stuff ever. I don't know how much
Yeah.
you guys have seen of it, but
Just the backgrounds, honestly. Like
yeah, exactly.
Same. Exactly,
I haven't
same.
watched the show, but I've seen the art, and I'm getting
Yeah.
that vibe from this, and that's the word pretty. You got it.
Yes. Oh yeah.
I really do appreciate that you went in and said, okay, where was the last time we had a very pretty, feminine, bulky Pokemon? Because it is true. A lot of feminine Pokemon, which my favorite ones are like a little Ninetales and Primarina. They are really cool, they're pretty, but they're we don't have a lot of that, you know, old stuff when it came with Meganium or Miltank. And it was cool to see that 2 of the Pokemon developed here were more of the bulky type.
I think this is my first collaboration, like group call, do drawings, do like all that
Definitely.
stuff. So this is cool as, and if you guys ever want to do anything again, I'm so down.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
This was a lot of fun.
Thank you guys for like not only agreeing but also literally doing more than what I even asked for. So this is amazing.
No, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming up with this. It really was a great prompt, and it was so cool to meet all of you guys. I am like an antisocial butterfly, so it's awesome that I had this, you know, excuse to like force myself to sit down and meet some other artists who do very similar stuff to what I do. It was awesome talking to all you guys.
I feel like I'm a kid again.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I'm on the bus riding home from school with my sketchbook, and I'm like showing everyone. I'm like, "Here's what I did," and they're like, "Here's what I did," and it's like,
Legit.
"Oh my god, yeah, it's awesome. I love it."